President Trump saying that the World Health Organization dropped the ball by not investigating what was happening inside China at the outset of this pandemic, going there and getting on the ground and taking a look and finding out what was going on. But there are reports tonight that the federal government may have also missed some warning signs. The Washington Post reporting that 2 years before this outbreak, U.S. diplomats raised concerns about safety issues at a lab in China, in Wuhan, warning, quote, the lab's work on bat coronaviruses and their potential human transmission represents a risk of a new SARS-like pandemic, they wrote a couple of years ago, according to this Washington Post story. The State Department is not commenting on the existence of these diplomatic cables, and top U.S. military officials tell Fox News that they find evidence of the virus's origins to be inconclusive. But several Republican senators are launching an investigation into just that. Joining me now is Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana. Senator, always good to have you with us. Thank you for being here tonight. These cables that were reported in the Washington Post, I don't know what, I mean, you can't roll back the clock a couple of years, but it does raise a lot of questions about what was going on in those labs and what is going on in those labs and China's lack of transparency in sharing it with us. It also said that the new lab had a serious shortage of appropriately trained technicians, and investigators needed to safely operate this high containment laboratory environment. What do you think about all that?
Martha, we know that the COVID-19 coronavirus came from a bat. We know that because of the genetic composition. We know it also started in Wuhan, China. Now, the Chinese Communist Party said it started when a Chinese national ate bat flesh that he bought from a meat market in China, in Wuhan. This is one problem. The meat market didn't sell bats. And there's no evidence that the first victim was ever even close to the meat, to the wet market, as they call it. Today, we have found out that there is speculation, I want to emphasize speculation, that the COVID-19 coronavirus that has infected the world accidentally escaped from a biomedical research lab in Wuhan, China. Now, we don't know if that's true, but the absence of evidence is not necessarily the evidence of absence. American scientists visited this biomedical research lab where they were studying bat coronaviruses and their transmission to humans. And they came back and sent a cable 2 years ago to the State Department saying this is an accident waiting to happen. If this virus gets out, we're going to have a world pandemic. China has some explaining to do. Now, I have dealt with the senior political leadership in China. The people of China are good people. I believe that. But the political leadership has a very casual relationship with the truth. They don't share Western values. They will steal the hair off your head. And in this case, they refuse to let anybody talk about the origins of the virus. Yeah. They won't let any scientists in China publish anything about the virus without permission of the Communist Party. They have refused to share the genetic material from the virus and the original victim with us. The doctors and the reporters who originally reported on the original victims there have suddenly disappeared. Nobody can find them. Now, this is not going to just be the United States asking these questions. This is going to be the whole world.
No. Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. I just want to put up, these are the other epidemics that have been traced to China. We had the Asian flu in 1957, the Hong Kong flu in 1968, 2003, the SARS epidemic, 1997, bird flu outbreak, and now COVID-19. So there have been issues that relate to some of these wet markets and, potentially this lab that we're talking about. I want to play for you a soundbite from General Milley today, and I want everybody to listen very closely to what General Milley is saying here when he was asked about the origins of this and whether it came from the wet market or whether it came from the lab. Listen to this.
It should be no surprise to you that we've taken a keen interest in that, and we've had a lot of intelligence take a hard look at that. And I would just say at this point, it's inconclusive, although the weight of evidence seems to indicate natural. But we don't know for certain.
So all signs seem to indicate natural, meaning that it was an accident, but we don't know for certain, says General Milley. Go ahead, Senator. Sorry.
With all due respect to the general, there are things that he can say and there are things that he can't say. And Congress needs to investigate this. Not just Congress, the entire world. Let me say it again. The political leadership in China does not share Western values. They will eat your lunch and the sack it came in and lie to you the whole time about it. Now, I'm not accusing the Chinese Communist Party of anything, but they have some explaining to do here. And if they have nothing to hide, then they need to let us talk to the doctors and the reporters, if they're still alive, who first discovered the virus, and they need to share with us the genetic material from a person in China who originally caught the virus. That would be a start.
Yeah. And that would be the kind of thing that you would hope an organization like the WHO would be putting down the clamps on to make sure it happened. But we haven't seen that happening in this situation, and that's why we've seen this
we can't depend
move
on
by
the
the president.
WHO. It breaks my heart to say that, Martha, but we can't depend on them.
Senator Kennedy, always good to see you, sir, and all the best to you and the people of Louisiana who are obviously going through a tough time, and we're thinking about you. Thank you very much, Senator.